We are Tailgate Talk. Welcome into the show. I'm Matt Thomas. With me, we got Kyle Mcwinney, Trent Williams, and noted hypocrite Kyle Schumann.
Oh,
from the
Mr.
grape thing.
Yeah, Mr. Never eat a grape, and then
No. I said I will never have a grape. Look at the recording. I'll never have a grape at this year's
this year's podcast
game. This year's games.
Guys, back me up on it. Did he say this year? I checked it. I don't recall him saying this year.
I don't recall hearing that.
All I know is he's going to eat a grape, so it doesn't really matter.
Listen, the past is the past. We all learn from our mistakes. So this year, no grapes.
I mean, did you even read the article I sent you this morning? The New York Post, founded by Alexander Hamilton, kind of a big deal on the $10 bill. Study finds
Matt's fake.
Matt's fake. All right, next.
I thought this was a football podcast.
We just became a history podcast.
All I'm saying is,
I thought Matt likes Penn State football. He's talking about the New York Post. All his fake news.
No. He didn't want you to have your segment on food, but now he's going off of Alexander Hamilton. So
no. This ties into Penn State football. The study shows that eating grapes can improve your lifespan. So we're talking about, are we going to be alive to see a Penn State national championship? I have a better odds because I'm eating grapes every week. So
you're going to stress yourself out.
I'm looking at it. I ate grapes last year, and look what happened last year. Bad season. No grapes this year. We'll see what happens. I'm the control.
It could be a worse season. It could be a worse season.
All right, let's move on before we need to change our logo to a grape.
Yeah. Please.
We got the picture for it. That's all I'm going to say. So anyway, some news and notes to kick off the show. If you've seen any of our socials, we got some big news going this week. We are now streaming our audio on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Podbean. So go ahead, follow us on there, give us a like, give us a review, download the episode, take it on the go. More to come. We're working through to get Apple going along with a few others. I have a newfound respect. I didn't realize how tough it was to get these things going and approved. So it reminds me of when we had to get Alex's name changed after we got married. And it's, you have to have your driver's license, but you can't change your driver's license yet because then you lose your identity or whatever. So there's a lot of hoops to jump through, but that's how dedicated we are to this show that we're doing.
That's the off topic guy today. My God.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was easier to find a picture of Kyle eating a grape, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, it was very easy to find a picture of Kyle eating a grape. But look, listen. I was told by someone on this Zoom right now that people don't want to listen to a long conversation about football. So
they don't listen about Alexander Hamilton either. I don't.
That's not true. Hamilton's been on Broadway for years, and people still go. So
what's the news?
All right.
News, what do we got?
All right.
We're gonna be
all right.
This is gonna be an hour.
Now we're previewing the defense today. I'm excited, guys. Football season is around the corner. Truthfully, I'm excited to get these episodes over with, these like preseason previews. I can't wait till we could just get into the grind of things and actually start talking about a game. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We're getting close.
Yeah. By the time this drops, we'll be within 2 weeks of the season. I don't know about you guys down there. You're a little bit south of us, but the last couple mornings, it's felt like fall. There's a chill in the air. It's got me ready for football season. So
when you can say like start talking in terms of weekends, like not this weekend but next, then you're getting close. So
yeah. So anywho, those are our personal notes. So now some news and notes from Penn State football this week that we didn't get a chance to touch on last episode. Been a few departures from the program in the last few days. Kaziah Holmes, running back, sophomore, redshirted last year, had a decent season in 2020. He is in the transfer portal as of Monday. And then Ken Talley, 4-star defensive end, who just joined the program a few weeks ago, also decided to leave the program this week. So who wants to kick us off on thoughts about that? I'll kick it over to Trent, see what he's got to say first.
Yeah, I mean, Kaziah Holmes is a guy that I was honestly looking forward to. I thought he made the most of his carries when he had his chance. Not as much last season. He just didn't seem to get many reps. But the season prior, I mean, we needed someone to step in, and I thought he did a fantastic job. So I was looking forward to see his progress this year, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
I mean, at the same time, I don't really blame him. I mean, you have obviously you have Nick Singleton coming in, you have Kayvon Lee, so there's only so many touches to go around. So, obviously wish him the best. He was a good player when he was in there, but there's only, again, so many times the ball can be handed off. So
I'm a little shocked that it didn't happen like after the spring though. You'd figure you'd kind of see the writing on the wall and take it from there. So I don't know if maybe it was something with classes and how that aligned or whatever, because the summer session just ended a few days ago, but that I thought was a little odd that he waited until this point to do it.
I agree with Matt. I was thinking it was possibly something academically. But I mean, like Kyle said, there's a lot of, great talent coming in that I think he saw the writing on the wall, but maybe later than he should have.
Yeah. And then you have Kentally, as like I said, obviously don't want to speculate anything there because no news has been broken, but safe to say it's probably a non-football issue. He was set to enroll in January, and then that got pushed back to May, and then that got pushed back to the first summer session and second summer session. So, I'm hoping maybe it could be like a JUCO route, goes Lackawanna or something, and then finds his way back. That would be nice, but
yeah. I mean, I think we could all still appreciate Kentally. I mean, I think he had a really big impact. Probably one of the bigger impact players on Penn State who will never have seen the field. I mean, what he did for the recruiting class, I think, was special. So,
yeah, that's very true. One of the better recruiting classes of the James Franklin era. So, obviously, wish those two all the best. But more positive news: we got our quarterback, Jackson Smolik from Iowa. I think outside of Des Moines, I saw he's a 3-star now. But from what I've been, reading up and listening to people talk about him, he's gone through some injuries. He missed a full year. He broke his collarbone at one point, and he just doesn't have a lot of film out there. So it seems like the only way he's going to go is up. So I think we got in and got our guy right at the right time. He was committed to Tulane and then decommitted over the last few days, and now he's in the class of 2023. So.
Yeah, he seems like a guy that's going to really shoot up in the rankings and do some good things the more exposure he gets. Personally, he's probably my favorite quarterback right now, just because he liked one of our tweets. So
yeah,
that's how I'm basing the depth chart just based on interaction. So I mean, if he likes one of our tweets, truthfully, I think he should probably come in and start over Clifford.
Yeah, I mean, the next step would be watching the podcast. So hopefully, he's giving us a look.
All the players listen to this.
I'm sure.
It's the talk of practice.
Yeah, I mean, I did see big things for him too.
They canceled practice today so that they could listen to the show.
Really? Is that what they did? Instead of the film session, it was a podcast session instead.
Yeah.
The only other thing I saw, I mean, you guys pretty much hit it on the head, that I did see he was slotted in the Elite 11. So that's pretty big, I think.
Yeah, I think I saw Josh Pate that he was a late add-on to the Elite 11, and apparently he, for the short time he was there, got a good exposure and wowed a few people, and that's why he expanded some of his offers. We offered him. So,
as I said before, no, go ahead, Matt. I was just gonna say this is the world we live in, though. I mean, you get a decommitment, next day you get a commitment, you get decommitments, commitments. I mean, it's just all over the place, and that's why until they sign pen to paper and they're on campus.
Throw some pads on.
I mean, now we have with the portal, and even a guy like Kentally, who you think's a lock, is no longer a lock. So that's why I just don't get too deep into recruiting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, not only did he like one of our tweets, I'm pretty sure he liked one of our Instagram posts too. So I'm pretty sure we can call him a friend of the show now. Not positive, still new.
That's all it takes.
Trent, you were saying with the everyday unfold is another unfold in recruiting. So I think right now we're 12th right now, 24/7 composite rankings. Obviously, there's more weeks to come. Where do you guys think we're going to end up? Do you think we get in top 10? See your reactions here.
Don't know. No, don't really care.
Exactly. That's how I feel. I feel there's so many more coming. We don't know.
I guess
I'm going to say probably no. Like, I just, based on my understanding, is there's not a lot of uncommitted guys right now. Like the top of the boards are pretty much all committed. So obviously that can change and everything, but it just seems unlikely. You have schools like Texas A&M that are still like pretty far back in the rankings, but it's kind of whenever they choose to kick it into gear, they could just go. So, I hope we get to a point where we're one of those programs too, but I think this year top 15 is a win.
Well,
So speaking of rankings and places in those rankings, the AP poll came out this week, and
Look at that transition.
yeah, I'm getting good. I can't tell you. The AP poll came out this week, and we were not on it. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think by the number of votes we received, we were around 29. But but not too much different at the top from the coaches poll, so we don't need to rehash that again because we just did. And obviously it's a preseason poll, so that's going to change. But what are y'all thoughts on not being ranked to start this year?
Doesn't matter.
I like it, to be honest.
Doesn't matter. I think we hashed this out pretty much. It's going to be the same conversation as we had with the coaches poll, being that we were unranked in that as well. But like I said, then I think this one stings just the tiniest bit more because this is what shows next to your name on TV that first game. So maybe the tiniest bit more of a sting, but I really don't care. I mean, it's a preseason poll, and let's see where we end up. Let's put it this way. I'd rather be unranked to start the season and ranked to finish the season than some past seasons where we're ranked high to start the season and not there to finish the season. So
I think two things can be true at the same time. Like similar to what I said in the coaches poll, I don't think we deserve to be ranked in the AP poll based on how we finished last year. But at the same time, it's that argument of, do you rank in the AP poll based on how you finished last year, or how you think you're going to be going forward in for the current year? If it's based off how we think we're going to be, we should be ranked, in my opinion. But how we finished last year, we shouldn't be. So that's why it's two things can be true at the same time, in my opinion. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at the end. So
it's a little bit of both, I think. Like, obviously there's some recency bias that comes in, but like, this team I think is talented. Like, this program has a lot of talent in it, but the last 2 years they've also been talented, and what have we done with it? So, quite honestly, I don't know if we deserve it. We got to go prove it, and I think that's fair. I think that's fine. So but go ahead, Winnie.
I was gonna say, I just think the biggest motivator is people not believing in you. I mean, I'd rather prove myself than just try to defend
story of your life.
Oh, for sure. The Wilson football days. I mean, I'm serious though. I really think it. I mean, if these guys aren't fired up to play, realizing that no one's believing in them and to a degree, I think it's going to motivate them a lot more.
Trent's gonna edit in some like Rocky music during while Winnie's saying that.
I mean, a coach could spin it however they want to spin it. I mean, what's Nick Saban's rah speech? I mean, coming in at number one every year. I mean, he spins it the same way. They think you're the best. That other team doesn't care what that ranking is on your shoulders. But like, they spin it how they want to spin it for motivation. I don't think it means much either way.
Yeah, but we are ranked in the top 10 in the one poll that does matter, the JP poll, the Josh Pate poll coming in. I mean, it's more of a power ranking than anything. And just so you know, JP, Josh Pate, he's the college. I know this is usually the time you tune in. So I was just making sure that you're aware.
Big Josh Pate fans here.
Yeah, if you haven't noticed, I think we're all big Josh Pate fans. I think a lot of college football fans are big Josh Pate fans. I think his podcast or his show is phenomenal. So
just real quick. Sorry, Matt.
The correct way to say it is "whomst among us" is not Josh Pate fans.
Real quick for the AP poll, I just want to show one thing here. Alabama's been ranked 229 straight weeks in the AP poll, and I think that's just. And the next one's Georgia at 82. It's just,
actually that's a good. Sorry, not to cut you off, but that's a good point. I saw on Scott Paterno on Twitter, which is perfect segue between Penn State and Central PA politics for me. But anyway. Penn State had the record between 1968 and 2000 for the most consecutive seasons starting to ranked in the AP poll, and Ohio State just broke it, I think, this year or last year. So that was interesting. I didn't know that. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, Coco, but
you're good.
No,
he's done. He took the wind out of his sails.
That hurt. Okay, that hurt. That was a gut shot.
No, I didn't really have anything else other than just Alabama. I thought
well then I'm not sorry.
Next.
I imagine Kyle just has a big bowl of grapes in front of him and just can't wait to get off camera to start eating them.
Probably trying different
Either-
kinds too, like the cotton candy ones, the
Poor
just the
Cotton,
regular.
he now has to be a closet grape eater. You're just gonna see him wander off to the
Hey.
porta potties up
I'll-
at a tailgate with this big lump in his pocket. It's a handful of grapes.
I'll
He has
start
to go to
throwing
the
them
porta potty to eat them.
I'll start chucking them at people. I don't care.
I'm waiting for you to sneak them into the game in your like mid calf sock, have them around.
Yeah, it's gonna look like he has a lump, but it's just a wad of grapes because he has to closet eat them so no
Yeah.
one can see him.
And then, of course, it's going to be all crowded getting in, and someone pushes into them and they squash.
Oh man.
He has grape juice.
All right. We'll get into some
That
real.
was a little cringy, guys.
Not
Oh,
for
was it?
us, maybe for you.
Yeah.
I had fun with it personally. Kyle, something's not cringy just because it's making fun of you.
Oh,
That's not what his mom tells him.
oh.
Oh, she's a
Now
nice
that's
lady.
cringy.
Yeah.
But you know what? We are the cringe factor on this show. That seems to be what we do. So
Yeah.
might as well just live up to it and own it.
The
Just
cringe
embrace
cast.
it. Wear like a battle scar.
See, if we were doing the offense today, that would have been a perfect segue. I could have said, speaking of cringe, but anyway, we're talking about the defense today. And I think last year it's safe to say the defense did well. I'm going to pull back on some of the stats from, as opposed to
Thank
last
you.
episode. Listen.
I had
like
my
to know-
whiteboard ready here to start writing stuff down.
Yeah.
Listen, I like to know why things work and why things don't work. So, if you all want to live in ignorance, that's fine. They say that's bliss. So, but I want to know why. So, but just to read off a few quick stats here from last year, according to 24/7 Sports. Coco, pull it together. 30 second. 30. You should be sorry. It's very disrespectful. We're gonna go back to like. I'm gonna go back to like elementary school. Remember when they would read and you have to wait? I'm waiting for my audience. Just sitting. I'm waiting for my audience. 32nd in total defense. This is according to 24/7 Sports. 39th in opponent third down conversion rate and 7th in scoring. So defense did a pretty good job last year. I was going through this roster, I had pretty much two thoughts. Like, holy cats, this roster has a lot of talent and there's a lot of questions. So without further ado, I'll just read through what is a projected lineup. Pulled this from Black Shoe Diaries. I think ultimately this is probably where it ends up, but I think some of these are still a little bit up in the air still, so we can kind of hash that out as we go through. But front four, you have Adisa Isaac coming back from injury from last year, PJ Mustafer coming back from injury, Kaziah Izzard, Nick Tarburton. Linebackers, you have Curtis Jacobs at the will, Jonathan Sutherland at the Sam, and then a position battle between Tyler Ellison and Kobe King at the Mike. The two corner spots are probably solidified now, Joey Porter Jr. and Kalen King. Obviously, Tig Brown at the one safety spot, hopefully poised for another big year. And then at the other safety spot, Black Shoe Diaries had this as like a two-way battle, but I think it's probably a three-way between Keaton Ellis, Ski Wheatley, and Jalen Reed. So I don't know where you all want to start. I have some questions that I, want to try to figure out as we watch this team develop. But I think there are a couple of different narratives for this defense moving forward. So Winnie, you look interested, so you can go ahead and take it off.
I mean, I'm excited. Lot of seniority on the team, so I think that'll be interesting. Not sure what to expect of Diaz, but I am excited of what the team has in terms of the playmakers. I'm just looking through the roster again up top here. I have it up on my screen. I am excited to see Joey Porter. I think he's been a great asset for the team. And I think him coming back this year, I hope he really is a leader, and especially in that secondary. And then defensively, PJ, I really want to see him come alive. I mean, he had some big plays last year. He really tore it up, especially in the run. So I want to see what he can do this year.
I mean,
Yeah, I think. Go ahead, Coco.
No,
No, go
I
ahead.
was just going to say that I think this year's defense, similar to last year's, I mean, we're going to be relying on our secondary more than our front seven. secondary wise, you said Jair Brown, big leader there, led team in tackles, interceptions. It's gonna come to our front seven. If we can get a pass rush, if we can find that next guy. I know last year was AK coming off the edge there, but D line wise, PJ, Isaiah Isaac, and then I'm hearing a lot of like talk of this Akeem Beeman. I feel like I think last year he was again, didn't disclose what happened last year where he didn't play, if it was academics or whatever, but there's big talk that he's making strides to try and get in that first string rotation. So it's gonna come down to front seven. So if we can get that front seven, we'll be in good shape here.
Yeah, I think what's going to be interesting with the defense is this is the first time James Franklin had to face this transition on the defensive side of things, right? I mean, we've seen this take place on the offense probably more times than we'd like, sometimes by choice, sometimes not by choice. But the defense has been solid. I'd imagine that him and Pry had such a tight relationship and have been coaching together so long, they sort of just knew the expectations of each other, and I'm sure that took a lot off Franklin's plate on the defensive side of things. So I'm curious to see how this transition to a new defensive coordinator, since that's the first time we're going to see this under Franklin. And truthfully, I mean, that Franklin has really had to deal with since Brent Pry's been with him since his Vanderbilt days.
That's true.
Yeah, but I think it does take a load off to bring in a former Power 5 head coach, and especially at a place like Miami. It definitely makes it easier than bringing in a first time defensive coordinator.
Yeah, Manny Diaz has a real quick one. He's touched on that exactly. Like he feels that he learned a lot of stuff as a head coach that when he was just a coordinator before, he never really got to see that side of things. So now that he's seen the head coaching side of things, he understands what he expected from his coordinators and can bring that back and hopefully take some stuff off of Franklin's plate with it.
Do you think that they'll miss a beat though with a new coordinator? I know when you bring in a new coach, position coach, head coach at any time, that it could be a year of transition. I mean, at any level.
Didn't we talk about this already?
Is that not what my entire thing? What I just said? Like I'm most interested.
Listen.
I'm most interested to see how we handle the transition.
Yeah, but do you think they'll miss a beat though? Right? It's one thing to say you're interested to see how he handles the transition. How do you think the players will handle it?
It's hard.
It's like when he's going back to school, where he when he's in class again, he's like, professor says an entire lecture there. Oh wait, can you go back and repeat that again? Like going back and didn't understand what he's talking about.
I'm pretty sure that was word for word his talking point from the first episode too. I'm pretty sure he said that same thing. So,
all right. Real quick, going back to the secondary there, I think I know we're going to preview the season coming up in a future episode here, but for what Ohio State has at their wide receivers, same thing for Michigan. I think we're the best team that stacks up with them for secondary and their skill positions. Come down to our front seven again. I think having PJ back is going to be, I think it's make or break front seven for me.
Well, I think what Matt had said about some question marks, I think obviously the linebackers are probably the group with the most question marks. But I think our secondary is strong enough that they can cover some for our linebackers, right? I mean, we don't need the best linebacker group that we've ever had, just because I feel like our secondary is strong enough they could help them and make up for some of their mistakes.
Yeah, I still think from the linebackers, I still think Brandon Smith should have stayed, in my opinion. But that's nor here nor there.
Yeah, I do think we have some talent there that can come in. So just one quick note that I forgot to mention: it's listed at the bottom of the graphic that we had to start. Not technically a starter, but Daquan Hardy is basically the starting nickel corner, so that's worth noting. But the linebacker, I think there's talent there. I mean, you have Curtis Jacobs. I think is set for a big year. Like Sutherland. I don't know. Like, what's your opinion on Sutherland? I feel like he's just one of those players who just he just constantly gets overlooked because he's not flashy. But I
don't think he's going to be a star out there. Like, do I think he's just going to develop into this star that's like every play it's like, wow, this guy's incredible? No, but I think he's going to go in there, serve his role, and do it well. And I think he'll go largely unnoticed for the most part again this year, just doing his job and nothing over the top, just coming in and playing his role.
He reminds me of Jan Johnson. Like he wasn't gonna be flashy, but I know when he's high on Jan
Yep.
Johnson.
We have the
Jan's the man.
number one Jan Johnson fanboy of this podcast right now. That's Kyle Mcwinney,
Yep.
biggest Jan Johnson fan.
Oh, certainly. I mean, he played hard every game, right? Made big plays, filled the gap.
Did he make big plays though? I'm pretty sure what we were just comparing him to is the fact that he didn't make big plays.
No.
He was always
plays.
like 3 steps behind the play.
No, he was in every play though. You can't deny that. That man was in every play.
That's true. That's true.
There you go. But I mean, to go off of Trent's point, I mean, that's the thing that you don't need to have all-star guys. I mean, if they're just going out there and everyone's doing their job, seriously, if everyone's just doing their job, like their role and just sticking to the game plan, I mean, it should be a well-oiled machine.
Yeah. And then at that middle linebacker spot, I think with 3/4 of this podcast being from Schuylkill County, I'm at least pulling for Tyler Ellison to crack that starting lineup.
So
give me a hard time about Jan, but these guys go giddy.
No, I wanted to talk about that. So that is an interesting position battle there because 3 of us here, excluding the Wilson kid up here, are from Schuylkill County. Tyler Ellison is from Schuylkill County. So obviously we're pulling for him there. But also I sort of like the Kobe King relationship there with it. He's a twin of his brother who's going to be starting this year. So they're roommates from Michigan, twin brothers. Kyle Schumann, fun fact of the pod, is he's a twin as well. Kyle, so are you pulling more for the twin connection or the Schuylkill County connection?
I don't know. I'm thinking about Schuylkill County connection. You asked me on the spot there. I didn't think about it for a second.
Throwing your brother Derek under the bus, huh?
Yeah. We only talk about him. We can move on from that.
I don't know about you guys, but like I watched a little bit of Elton's high school film and then saw him when he first enrolled, and I thought there's no way this kid sees the field. Like he did not look like he was ready for Big Ten play. And I saw a picture of him a few weeks ago at Media Day. He looks like he's ready for Big Ten play. Like he put on some weight. He put on some size. Like I think he.
Yeah, I mean that's what's crazy about these coaches, right? I mean, I could think of a couple of people that in high school they don't look like they're special, but coaches can see their potential, not just like their fundamentals, but also their build and what type of weight they can put on them and what type of muscle and speed these guys can pick up. So I think that's always interesting to see how a player develops from high school into the college game.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. Based on some of the stuff that I've been reading on 24/7, it seems like Ellison's ahead right now, but that could change. I mean, I think both of the Kings are very talented. So
I mean, at the end of the day, I think we're talking the first series here, right? They're both going to play, so it's largely irrelevant. They're both going to get a lot of playing time.
Yeah. The one other interesting thing I saw at the linebacker spot is Abdul Carter. So he's 4-star, true freshman coming in. Ultimately, I think he's going to end up at the Mike linebacker position, but it looks like they're starting him at the will behind Jacobs. So I think that means he's probably going to burn his red shirt this year, and he's going to see a decent amount of playing time. So, he's wearing that number 11. He's going to be that next great Penn State linebacker, hopefully to wear those sticks. So
that's what I did like the past few years under Brent Pry, was that rotation of being too deep on the front 7, keeping guys fresh. So if we can, with this deep talent that we have on the recruiting trail coming in, hopefully we're just like that, where it's plug and play, and like when he says not skip a beat, everyone does their assignment, and this is like the hope.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I respected about Brent Pry, man, when he put those that second string like defensive line out there, they were out there. I mean, even if the other team started driving, he wasn't quick to pull them. He left them out there and let them fend for themselves. So, and I think that resulted in a lot of our, we say it a ton, but bend but don't break mentality, because those young guys, they did bend a lot, but in the end, we normally got the stop.
Yeah, and a lot of those guys that were second stringers last year are coming in fighting for starting positions this year. So it's that constant of get the game experience last year and maybe a starter, but
I think so. It's actually interesting. Like I said, when I was looking through the roster, I was like looking at these names. They're going to be 2 deep or 3 deep. I'm like, oh wow, like we're really stacked. But when you actually look at the numbers behind them, I'm going to my stats. I'm sorry, I'm going there. Like, someone needs to be stats and info. We're not just going to be out here going, oh, well,
I'm not laughing at that. Someone's
he-
dog's doing a dog squeaking in the background.
Oh, that's Mr. Blue over here doing the squeak. So you
Coco,
either
I
get
thought that was you.
So we're still
Listen, I got single dad dog duty tonight, so you're gonna have to deal with that. You're not gonna get Fred barking though, because it's nighttime for him, so he's good. But you're gonna have to listen to the squeaks. So, but that's okay. That's okay. Anyway, so
let's get back to the stats.
Yeah. Well,
this is where all the people on YouTube start fast forwarding 15 seconds, waiting for Matt to get done talking.
That's fine.
Mine's not working here, guys.
That's fine. We gotta you know what, Coco, you can just go with your he's good, he's not good takes, and I'll bring in the stats to save us.
Matt, go ahead. I want to hear your stats.
So anyway, I got 3 big questions for this defense this year. So we kind of touched on the first one already. How are the players that missed most of last year going to respond? So Adisa Isaac coming back from, I think it was the Achilles, missed all last year. Mustafer coming back from the ACL, missed most of last year. Isaac is already a year out from that injury, so he should be back to 100%. Mustafer, though, like, he's 9 months out now. So how, with the time that you miss and all that training and everything, like, he's
they are portraying him as 100%.
Yeah,
I think you have to be a little skeptical about that, but I mean, at the end of the day, if he's confident he could come in and go, I mean, bottom line is PJ Mustafer at 70% is probably still better than most people at 100%. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
I'll let Coco talk about it more, but I know a lot of guys that even just seeing at the professional level too, that they don't really come back the same that first year out of a knee injury. I mean, you even saw Saquon,
as a resident.
I'll let him talk about it more, but they tend to be a little bit more gingerly on it and worried about hurting it again.
As a resident ACL
expert
expert here, I must say with medicine, it's just nuts that these injuries that were a decade ago, like season-ending injuries, and now these guys are back 8-9 months. So, I mean, I'm not sure if he got the same care as PTS in Pottsville, but I think he.
Whoa. We didn't sign them on as a sponsor yet, so we can't be dropping any names.
No free ads. No free ads.
That's more editing work for us.
No, I think he should be fine. Like Trent said, everything I've been reading, projecting as 100%. So we'll see week 1.
I was gonna say I think it's different, medically versus mentally, but
yeah. So those two physically coming back, and then like you mentioned earlier, Coco Beeman coming back from another non-football related whatever it may be that he missed a year. Like, obviously you're off a football year, even if you're practicing, whatever. They made the whole thing going around the circuit on the news this week, how he lost his stripe and then he earned his stripe back, and all that kind of stuff. So how are those 3 going to look? And then where I was going originally when I started this, there's a whole group of guys that I feel like have a lot of potential, but it's time to really like show what they can do. We've seen flashes of it, and now it's time to see it play out over the course of the season. So the Kings are one group. We've kind of touched on both of them. Jalen Reed and Zakid Wheatley, I think we need to talk about that position battle a little bit still, but they're 2 I have slotted here. And then I just have a whole bunch in the front 7. Izzard, Ellies, Fisher, Budden, Tarbert, and that's the point where, like, I'm looking at this roster and I'm like, oh yeah, like that guy played a lot. That guy, did all this stuff. And I counted out those last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I just mentioned, 67 total tackles in their career. Like that, I was a little surprised when I pulled that up.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have the drop between our starters and that second string guy. I don't think there's going to be a huge difference in a lot of positions, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So we've heard it talked about a lot. Like, the depth is probably some of the best depth we've had under Franklin.
Yeah. It's about showing it though. And then quickly, as we try to move through here a little bit, some of the new guys that come in, Denida Sutton, Chop Robinson, Abdul Carter, Zane Durant. These are guys that are highly touted, either coming in as transfers or coming in from the high school ranks. So I think you're going to see a lot of young players on the field this year, and that's a good thing. Even if it doesn't necessarily turn out in the win-loss ratio, I think it's good building on the future. So
yeah, I think Sutton's the guy. I mean, we're probably most anticipating. on the defensive side, he's probably the Singleton-esque version, maybe not quite as hyped on the defensive side for the incoming freshman. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yep. So one more thing quickly, and then we'll just move on. That other safety position battle. What do y'all think about that? Like, I think, Zakee Wheatley, what do they call him? The ball hawk king? He's long, he's lanky, he can get those picks. Reed is obviously highly talented too, but I feel like Keaton Ellis has high ceiling but low floor.
I'll say this. I'll stress this again.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll stress this again. I mean, if we're talking about a position battle, if it's a true position battle at this point, it doesn't matter. Both guys are going to get a ton of playing time. We're literally just talking who's going to come out in the field for that first series. Besides that, if you're this deep into a position battle, you're both going to play a ton.
Yeah. And as a fan,
thanks.
you should be excited that you got two great guys ready to take the field in battle, that they're both at that level of readiness that they can go out there and play.
Thanks for those insightful takes, Trent. It doesn't matter. We're supposed to make it matter. That's why we're here.
It doesn't. I'm realistic. It doesn't. Unless it's one of those coaches battles where the coaches make it seem like it's a much closer competition than it actually is, just for the sake of competition. But if it's truly a close battle this late in the season, we're just talking who's coming out in the field for the first series. After that, they're going to play a lot of football, either guy.
Yeah, but I think it matters a little bit more when you have a game like Purdue to start. Like if it was, just a throwaway game, then yeah, I agree with you. But, you need to make sure that you have someone that you can feel confident throwing out there. It not even necessarily the first series, but
my counter is if it's still a position battle, you're not that much confident in one over the other. If you were, it wouldn't be a position battle.
I wouldn't even say confidence. I would say, or that both guys are just performing really well, and it's hard to decide. Even it's not even necessarily that they're not ready, but maybe they're both just performing at a high level, and you got two great options.
So no worries then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As a fan, well, I wouldn't be upset at all.
Well, we need something to talk about, so excuse me for just trying to.
I think we have plenty to talk about. Every podcast of ours has been longer than I think we anticipated. So
yeah.
Just trying to generate conversation. One more thing. No, just kidding.
Oh my gosh. I was about to leave our Zoom meeting.
One more thing. Matt says 4 more things after his one more thing.
Yeah.
Sorry. I spend a lot of time thinking about Penn State football. I'm sorry. I want to talk about it. I didn't start this because I wanted to talk about tailgate food. I want to talk about Penn State football.
But what was your best topic so far? It was tailgate food.
I mean, I don't know if
the grape segment was the best, so
exactly.
Yeah.
No denying it.
It depends on what you quantify as the best. So
Twitter poll.
All right, on that.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
Yes. All right. I'm moving on. All right, Coco, come on. Bring out your pick your plate.
There we go. All right, guys. For this week's pick your plate segment, got three.
What's on the menu?
First one, we previewed the offense last episode. For this one, Sean Clifford over under 3,400 passing yards. Again, last year, based off of from last episode, he's at a little over 3,100. So right now, I'm saying over under 3,400.
I'm sorry, I thought we were done talking about football. My bad.
So he was at 3,100 last year with his injuries. Right. Now, I mean, I guess you could look at it and say, I hope we run the ball more and are a lot more successful in the running game this year. But I just still, if he's healthy, I mean, you could bank that he's not going to stay healthy all season. I'm sure that's factored into that over under as well. But if he stays healthy, I don't see how we don't go over the 3,400 mark.
You go, Mike. No, you go.
I think it's the opposite. Like, it's 3,100 yards last year. Yeah, he missed like a game and a half, but it was also knowing that we had to throw the ball if we wanted to get more than a yard of play. So I think if you even have an average running game, like that's gonna take some pressure off there. But I don't know if
you could also look at it and say a successful running game can open up the passing game to more big plays and things like that we really didn't get last year.
That's the way I'm looking at it, Trent.
If we have a running game that can do that, and Clifford goes over 3,400 yards, then I think we're talking about whether or not we're going to be in the college football playoff at the end of the year.
Now
Like,
we're
talking.
That's
I don't,
where
Mr.
I don't know
Mr.
about
Pessimistic
that. Like,
here now.
yes,
I
see it.
So
I'm a realist because I look at the numbers. And I don't just pick a number out of the hat like Coco does. But I'm going under.
I don't disagree with Trent. I think that is the running game will open up the passing game. However, James Franklin does not like to run up the score. So I think what's going to happen is the running game is going to be killer this year, but I don't think he is going to get over 3,400. So I will take the under.
I'm riding with Trent here. I'm thinking that running game's going to open up the passing game. I think we're going to have some big shots to Washington, and things going to happen.
Let's go, Coco. Fist bump.
Now we're going to prove
this
him
way.
wrong.
And he goes the wrong way.
I knew he was going to do that.
Next one here.
He's just dyslexic.
Yeah, don't knock your mic over.
We're gonna preview the Purdue game here in like next week's episode, or I guess a week today.
A future episode.
Yeah,
Future
there you
episode.
go.
They don't know when we're recording this. Are we gonna have? Is our defense gonna have over or under 1.5 turnovers at Purdue in week 1?
I'm over. I think, Aiden O'Connell, he's good quarterback. He's been in school almost as long as a friend of ours who shall go nameless, but he takes a lot of risks. So I think it could burn us too. Like, I'm not doubting that there might be a long pass play that goes off, but I think it's going to result in a couple of picks. So I'm over.
I think Diaz is going to have the defense fired up. They're going to come out in this first game and just light it up. So I'm going to take the over too.
Over.
Winnie's the spirit guy. He's all just into the team. He's the hype guy, the team man.
Oh, I'm excited for football.
I was over, but I kind of want to win this thing at the end of the season. So I'm going to go under because everyone else picked over. Try and get
Watch, Coco's going to lose by like 20 because he just starts going the opposite of everybody.
We're going to have 6 turnovers the first game.
For first half of Collins and have like four picks, and I'm actually being mad because my pick didn't hit.
We'll have to record his reaction to this one.
All right, one non-Penn State one here. I'll throw up the schedule here for Maryland. Their win total is 5.5. Few non-conference tricky non-conference games here, but going to get your takes on the over under 5.5 win total for Maryland here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Twalia is the X factor. I mean, I think if he stays healthy and has a good season, I think Maryland can be decent. But the problem is they have a brutal schedule. I mean, they're not a powerhouse football program, and they're probably in one of the better conferences and the better divisions in the football in the Big East, in the Big Ten East.
The Big East, what?
The Big Ten,
Wow.
The Big Ten East. So I'm going to have to go under only because they have a tough schedule.
I'm going to take the over. I think people are underestimating them. I mean, they got 15 returning starters. They hit a bowl game last year. I think they're going to be a real good opponent. And
how the hell do you do more prep work for Maryland than you do for Penn State?
Whoa! I got enough prep work. So,
if I look at their schedule, I get like the 5. I see them around that 5-win mark.
That's where I'm at too. And
I have them
just the experience.
I have them going like 6-6 or 7-5. Like, so I'm over. Like, I think I'm enough there that I think they can get there. And again, like you said, Talia, you just need to clean up the turnovers, some of those things. But
hey, I'm not going to complain about his turnovers.
Well, I mean, if I were a Maryland fan, which that's got to be a godforsaken thing, but that's what I would say. So.
You're not converting anybody to our podcast from Maryland, that's for sure.
I'm going the under there, going off what Trent said. I can only get to like 4 or 5 wins, and then after that, you need like certain big games to go away from Maryland, and I just don't see it happening. I think we're gonna get transition here.
Yeah. Thanks, Coco. Speaking of big games, see that's how you do a transition. Speaking of big games.
One more thing, guys.
Oh.
Listen, when you got things to talk about, you can just keep throwing them out there. But
no, when you have good things to talk about.
Man, we might have to make a podcast just for Matt and Kyle. It's been them the whole show just going at it.
Well, I mean, in reality, it's just us talking over Trent because you're not talking. So So, and, anyway, Big Game Boomer. I think you either love him or you hate him on Twitter. Had a tweet out today that generated some conversation among us. So thought we'd bring it out here. He has out a percentage of fans that attended the school they root for. So basically, what percentage of the fan base actually went to the school? You've got Stanford at 99.9%, Northwestern 99%, Penn State's all the way down at 8%. And then another interesting, Notre Dame at 0.1%. So what do you guys think about that? I think that's way too low.
For being the stat guy, Notre Dame's actually at 0.01%, not 0.1%. So
I said I was the stat guy. I didn't say I was the speaking guy.
So, no, I mean,
I don't know. Matt might be dyslexic too, I think there.
So Big Game Boomer, I mean, his tweets bring controversy. He does it on purpose. He knows what he's doing. It's fun discussion. It's fun debate. Obviously, with Stanford at 99.9% and Notre Dame at 0.01%, this isn't realistic. But I do think it's interesting to throw a number out there for Penn State, and I think 8% has to be way too low. If we have one of the largest alumni bases out there, and that must be saying that our fan base our alumni are largely not interested in Penn State football.
That's a really good point. I wonder where you got that one from.
I think it's well known that we're the largest alumni base.
Yeah.
Not breaking news to anyone.
It's about connecting the dots.
I would know, Matt. I have 2 degrees from Penn State.
Oh, here we go. I think I will take this from one of you guys. I'll admit it, that someone even said that he didn't even cite any sources. I think Trent, you might have said that in our chat. So I don't even know how he got this information. It seems like a little,
that was McConis, but I'll take
was it? Sorry, McConis.
I'll take it. I'll take the credibility.
I didn't trust these other 2 guys to make that comment, but I don't know. I think it's definitely higher than 8% for sure. But I could see it though to a degree. I mean, I know that Notre Dame, we cited them as a low number, but I truly don't know anybody who went to Notre Dame, but I know people who are fans of Notre Dame that have been to their games and they didn't go to the school. So
yeah,
I mean,
I know a ton of Notre Dame fans. Not one of them actually went to school there.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I really don't care about the tweet itself. I more or less want to, like, when can we start tweeting out random stats and random like takes like that? It could be fake.
When you get to a 5th grade level of graphics that we can put out on the social pages.
I'm pretty sure you do that enough by saying that Franklin didn't have any linemen go to the NFL.
Exactly. Just start making stuff up.
We've been doing that for the first 3 episodes.
Fake it till you make it.
No, we just got to make those graphics like they did. Remember that Super Bowl tweet that they did a couple years ago?
Yeah,
where it's like a mini line is played in every single Super Bowl except for the 12 that they didn't, and like small parentheses at the bottom.
Except was in size 4 font.
Yeah. So like I think that unscientific number, whatever it was, is kind of based on like university acceptance rate and then like national following. So like Stanford is really hard school to get into. Like no one outside of Stanford is rooting for Stanford. So like that's why they're so high. Notre Dame's a really hard school to get into, but they have a huge following nationally. That's why they're low. But like Penn State, like, yeah, like, well, I'm gonna say we're a hard school to get into, you know. We got it, and some of us a little bit easier than others, but like we're just not that like a national, like we're a national brand, but it's more like a regional kind of like where you have people that didn't even go to the school that follow the team.
Yeah.
So any other comments on that, or are we moving on?
Let's get into our favorite segment here.
Yes. So moving on to last call to wrap it up tonight. I'm not going to keep reminding everyone what last call is because I just don't want to do it. So
I think it's fun to keep reminding them how it's fast-paced rapid, and then we go on for 20 minutes, honestly.
This is your last call for reminding people what last call is. I like it.
All right. I'll go first for last call today. So I was listening to another pod, Unnecessary Roughness, and they had an interesting debate. I'm going to bring that debate to Penn State. So for this season only, doesn't take future years recruiting, anything that into consideration. For this season only, would you rather replace Sean Clifford with Bryce Young or James Franklin with Nick Saban?
Saban.
So I think
Agree
the
with
question,
Matt.
everyone says like our season's dependent on Sean Clifford. So if we're only looking at a singular season, does Bryce Young make that difference, or does Saban make the rest of the team that much better?
I think the thing with Bryce Young is, I mean, obviously you're playing on Alabama, so you got that entire, all those weapons around him, those higher rate recruits than what we're bringing in. So I think Saban would be the answer.
But that you could say the same thing. Is Saban's coaching largely because of his recruiting? So would he be the same coach with the Penn State roster versus the Alabama roster?
I'll take Saban because I think the coach is who instills the values and the playmaking ability, I think, to a degree into the player.
All right.
I'm a Mcwinney motivational guy.
I'm going to take Saban. I think
if we are talking one season, which was the hypothetical, I think I have to go with Bryce Young. I just think one season is not enough to instill the Saban values. And
is it enough to instill the Penn State values?
I mean, Saban's the best that ever did it. So like I just think that having him for a year, he can get the most out of what he has. I think that's not, it's to take from Josh Pate. It's not even close.
I found it interesting.
Ooh,
so
not even
that's all
close.
I had. Who's next?
I can go
Coco.
quickly here. So I know we just talked about tailgates for a large portion of last week's show.
Here we go.
Ironically, it's also tailgate related. Would you guys rather have the optimal tailgate up at State College where price is no option, be able to stay back and watch the game on a TV at the tailgate by yourself, or you can go into the game, you got to work it as an event staff, and you got to like do your duties, and you got to like report if there's any issues, but you can still watch part of the game in the stadium?
Let me write that question down. My gosh.
Honestly, I think that's a great question, Kyle, because at first it was a no-brainer, but when you threw you have to work the
I'm
event.
looking at it as there's no distractions at the tailgate, but if you're working as an event staff, you'll have some time watching the game, but then, there might be an issue you got to go report to. So I'm here, you guys.
That's a great question. In that case, I'm staying outside the tailgate. That's one of the few situations I would, but at least if I could watch every play out at the tailgate and have a great tailgate at the same time, I'd probably rather that than being inside the stadium, but risk missing some big plays.
Yeah, well, not only, you don't have to even say that's what you would do. That's what you did. You went up to the blue white game and skipped it. You didn't go in. So
I just want to note that's when Tiger Woods won the Masters. So
that was this year. Tiger Woods didn't win the Masters this year.
Oh, I didn't go to the blue and white game this year.
Oh yeah, that's right. You skipped it, but you still did.
I went to the blue and white game when Tiger won the Masters, and then instead of the blue and white game, I went to watch Tiger win the Masters. Don't regret it.
Yeah. Well, then you know what? If you can find a Tiger Woods podcast somewhere, you can go join them, because we don't have no half-ass Penn State fans around here. So
sure, we do. We have Woody here.
Oh, not half-assed by any stretch.
Yeah, I wouldn't even upgrade him to half-assed yet.
No, so, I mean, Shuey. I mean, you're probably gonna miss more games than me this year. So,
all right, Winnie, give us your answer here. Let's go.
Let's hear it, Winnie.
Me, I think I'd stay outside just because I went to school with people like Kyle, and I know what it's like.
Also, Matt, did you ever give us your answer, or did I just completely?
You totally skip Matt.
We can go back. We'll circle back to him.
All right, hurry up.
I'm just outside. About done. Yeah, outside.
Yeah. Coco, what's your answer?
I'll just pick outside too.
All right, then it wasn't that great of a question. There was no.
You hyped it up.
I thought there'd be some differing opinions, but.
I got a short and sweet question. Okay. Seen a lot of dogs at tailgates over the years. Do you like dogs at tailgates?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I didn't think you guys would be yes or all yes on that, to be honest with you. I thought I would see some no.
Why? Who doesn't want a dog at a tailgate? My dog Copper will be at the majority of tailgates this year. So listeners, come on over and see Copper. He's liable to nip you a little bit, but it's all in the name of love.
I can't bring Fred because he doesn't do well around food. So and Blue will probably chew the carpet in the RV. So they'll be staying at home. So, all right. Mine is staying on the topic of defense for this episode. Is Manny Diaz the defensive coordinator in 2 years? So not this next season, the season after.
2 years, not this season. I'm going to say yes, but not much longer after that. Like, I think 3 years maybe. If it's a success, maybe, but I don't think he'd leave for, like, he's been there. He's done the Power 5 big school head coaching thing. So I don't think he'd just drop down to any old school.
So I'm gonna say no, because I hopefully he has success, like high success, and then like he already has that Power 5 coaching experience, so he'll get pried off from somewhere, maybe like Nebraska or someone that we're coaching at the hot seat for a big program. So I hope he's not like I hope he's not here because we have a great defense. Does that make sense?
Just cut that clip where he says, "I hope he's not here," and then put it out. Kyle hates Manny Diaz.
At Manny Diaz.
PSU Tailgate Talk hates Manny Diaz.
I think we talked about money before, and some of the coaches just not getting paid enough. So I think that's going to be what kind of leads to it.
I think no. I think we get this year and then next year, and I think he moves on. My whole theory is I think this is just a stopgap for Elijah Robinson, who's the D-line coach at Texas A&M now. I think he was a little bit too young still to make him, our defensive coordinator, but I think he's high on Franklin's list. I'm pretty sure he played at Penn State, like 99% sure. So I think hopefully that's the move because I'm pretty high on Elijah Robinson. So.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. The only thing I would say, like, I think he's been there, he's made that money. So I don't think you can never have enough money, but I don't think he's going to be as money hungry. And then 2, I think it's other programs are going to be a little hesitant, bigger programs being, his time at Miami wasn't that much of a success. And as soon as he walks out the door, they seem to turn it around really quick. So then it's easy to point fingers at the coaches, at the coaching staff that was there. So that's one reason I think he'll be here a little longer than 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, well, the other thing you have to factor in is coming from South Beach. How long is he going to be able to handle State College? Like that place is a wind tunnel in the wintertime. He might just be retiring and head back down. So, anything else we need to hit on?
I think that's it. I think we can wrap it up so Kyle can quick turn his camera off and start munching on his grapes.
Yeah.
Just quick reminder to everyone, subscribe, give us a like, drop us a review, drop us a question at PSU Tailgate Talk, PSU Tailgate Talk at gmail.com. So be on the lookout. We got some big things in the works coming over the next couple of weeks, and we're getting close to the season. We are Tailgate Talk.